Good morning, good morning, good morning, or good afternoon, I should say. Welcome to Faith and Politics with me. I am Tina. We are here live. I'm really excited to be with you today. Make sure you sign up because we have a new blast that's going to be going out. So I'm really excited about what's been happening. And I honestly thought it was going to go out this week, to be perfectly honest. But we had such a mass amount of emails that the server told me I could only put out so many at a time. And I just to be perfectly honest. So y'all should be receiving your emails. If not, make sure you hit in the link to sign up because we're going to have two forms of communication. We're going to send information by text message, and that will be on Saturdays. What we're going to have is Solution Saturdays. So we're going to be able to text each other solutions that you see around the city or things that you want to fix in the city of New Orleans. And so that's what we're going to do. And so I need you to sign up your email, sign up your text, go into any of the links on any of our social media platforms. Right now, I am live on Instagram and um, uh, Face and TikTok right now. I think I am. Oh, I'm not live on Instagram. I didn't hit the button right. So here we go again. So I'll be live. Now I'm live. Now I'm live. I was like, something going on. Okay. So now I'm live on Instagram too. Hey, Instagram. I'll let them kind of catch up. Welcome to Faith and Politics. I'm really excited about this, y'all, because I am launching a game um, uh, on a more continuous level. And so, what's going to be happening is we are going to have weekly events. And so, every Tuesday, if you sign up for the emails, you will receive a an informational about New Orleans politics. A lot of you know me from the recall. Um, I am very outspoken when I feel like we are being taken advantage of. That's just kind of how I was built. My dad was a public servant in the city of New Orleans, and I remember when our city officials were like, actually public servants. And so I'd like to kind of get back. People keep talking about, oh, before Katrina, before Katrina, before Katrina. And we felt like a city of neighborhoods before Katrina. That's kind of how I grew up. I'm 46. People say I look young, so I'll take it. But I am 46 and I'm a 21-year-old. So I've lived a lot in New Orleans. I've been through a lot, and I've experienced a lot of trauma that a lot of people in New Orleans have lived through. We went through the Katrina with the baby. Did the whole Ida as him as a senior, which was a terrible year to do it, but God's will be done. And so I'm here at this point where I want to kind of help people understand and empower them about New Orleans politics and what's going on. I had I was very fortunate to grow up with my dad. He was a community leader, and he really out and paid it forward. And at his funeral, that's one of the things he asked everyone to do. He said, "If I've touched your life, please pay it forward." And so that's just part of what we do. And our other family motto is never give up. So if you're sick of me, you'll always be sick of me because I don't give up. So with that being said, I hope you sign up for Faith and Politics. On Tuesdays, you will receive an email blast about something that's going on in New Orleans politics, or something to empower you with information. Just to give you an example, today I'm going to talk about three things. Well, I'm going to break down Faith and Politics and what Faith and Politics is all about. I'm going to break down what a strong mayor system is, because if you didn't know what a strong mayor system, New Orleans has a strong mayor system. And so we are different from, say, Jefferson Parish, where we're different from Baton Rouge, where the mayor is like your council president and the mayor. And so New Orleans has its own setup. Hey, TikTok, I didn't forget about you. I'm looking at Instagram and I'm live on my podcast. So you can, actually, I'll hit that later. But, I just wanted to kind of bring everyone together, and so we can have these conversations to empower you with information. Just to give you an idea, during the recall, we stood on corners for like 7 months. And so we spoke to a lot of residents and heard a lot of, we're trying to be resilient. It's time to thrive, New Orleans. But I think once we connect and we communicate better and realize we have more in common than we do, different divisions, then we can work together on the things that we agree with and kind of move those things forward. And so a lot of New Orleanians may not understand why certain things aren't happening and why things aren't moving. Well, you have to know what type of system that New Orleans has, and which means which is we have a strong mayor system. And so I want to talk about that today, and also want to talk about there was an article on in the newspaper on Sunday. And so with this storm, and I have the door open now, so I can like see this the snowing, and it is a trip. I'm sitting in New Orleans watching it snow. Like, it has not snowed like this ever in my lifetime. I'm 46. I said, okay, God, we're paying attention, because clearly something is up. If y'all are paying attention, we all need to be paying attention. So, really quickly before I get into what a strong mayor system is, and then talk about this news article that was on Sunday that dropped. And if you didn't see it, you should. You should go. It's on NOLA.com, and it's talking about how did New Orleans veer from their public safety plan for New Year's Eve. And here's the clincher. We veered off the plan for the past 2 years. So start there. So we'll get into that in a minute, but I want to give you what's going on and what I'm doing. So faith in politics is something, y'all know we talk about the Lord, and I was brought up in politics, so it's just kind of my thing. And so when I thought about this, I was like, New Orleanians really lost their faith in politics. And when I say that, I kind of look at our voting records and our percentages that go out to participate. And I feel like we used to participate, and we used to care, we used to love each other so much more. And I just really feel like we can bring a lot of that back, as well as I saw a lot of the decline in how we connect. During the recall, honestly, crime had a lot to do with it in the city of New Orleans. And so we need to stop acting like that wasn't a thing. You're like, what's going on? Well, we don't act very neighborly. We haven't acted very neighborly in a while, perfectly honest. And I think we need to bring that back. We are New Orleans, and that's what makes us different. People come here because of our culture, of our things. And, everything isn't good. So we need to also check some of those things. Some of the things we need to, like, we eat a lot, but are we going to check our blood pressure, things like that. But just making sure we're taking care of ourselves so we can be here, the people, because this is our city. And, I was like thinking, like, we can't have a fireman and an EMS, getting married and have a family. Y'all, this snow is nuts. But we can never like it and afford living in the city of New Orleans. And so my question is, who are we doing it for? We live here. Who are we doing it for? And so that's what faith in politics is all about. Is to bring our faith back in politics. During the recall, some people didn't know recall was even a process. And so this is about really empowering you with information, and you can go out and speak up in your sphere of influence. I don't believe in manipulating people with information. I believe give people information and let them do what they need to do with it. Um, that's just how I roll. So I am not a Republican, and I am not a Democrat. I am a registered independent. And so I see purple, and I do see inadequacies in both parties, to be perfectly honest. So um, I grew up in the Democratic Party, but I did leave it because it just didn't, like, some people say I felt like the Democratic Party left me. And on certain things, I do believe that. I don't think I have veered from, my belief system, because I do walk in my Christianity. So with that, and I do believe that there is an assault on Christianity in the way that, like, they like to, call things and say radical Christian. I'm like, what's a radical Christianity? I follow Jesus Christ. What's the problem with that? When did that become radical? But the Bible said was going to happen, and so it's really happening. We're really living in those times. So if we're empowered with information, we can just do better for each other. So sign up for that everywhere that you're watching me right now. Because if you're watching me online or on where am I? On TikTok and Instagram. And then if you're listening to me, you can listen everywhere. Podcast. So if you ever miss a show, y'all, you can go back. You can go back to all of my prophecies. I have them back to like 2022, I think, verbally, video wise. But you can go online and watch them. At Faith and Politics, or at Eileen Carter, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that, TikTok. And so, and YouTube. So make sure you follow me there at Faith and Politics today. And so make sure you follow me. We're growing. We had like over 1,500 people log in and listen to the last live. So I was really excited about that. So we are growing, and we just want to share information, and that's just what I'm here to do. So with that being said, I want to pull up what a strong mayor system is and kind of break that down for you, so you can make your own decisions about what a strong mayor system is and what we have in the city of New Orleans. So let me give you that information. So I'm going to read a little bit of this just to make sure I hit all the points because I want to make sure I give y'all the correct information. So, a strong mayor system. Everyone wants strong political leadership, neighborhoods, civic leaders, and the business community included. And today's complex communities cannot succeed without the guidance of effective mayors. Correct? We all agree with that. Who provide a sense of direction and contribute to the smooth functioning of a local government, especially if the city has a strong mayor system. So I'm just going to be perfectly honest. I did not understand that we had a strong mayor system in the city of New Orleans until I worked for the city of New Orleans. So, short background, I worked for the city of New Orleans for 3 years. I built the social media department of the city of New Orleans. So, the first 3 years, from 2018 to 2021, online, who you were talking to, you were talking to me. And then now they have a new head of social media. But from that point of time, it was me. Under the strong mayor form, political power is concentrated in the mayor's office. So the mayor is over all city departments and most boards and commissions. That includes NORD, Social Water Board. That's why I say boards and commissions. And there's any other than that. They place people all over the city. But I need you to understand that in a strong mayor system, the political power is concentrated in the mayor's office. The mayor is over all city departments. I want y'all to understand this before I read the article about what happened, because that's important. So we're going to go through this in order because I want y'all to follow. Because this is why I spoke up, and this is why I believe you should open your mind to see a different perspective. So, under strong mayor, foreign political power is concentrated in the mayor's office. So a strong mayor council government reflects the organization of most state governments. The mayor is the city's chief executive, while the council is the city's primary legislative body. The general characteristics of a strong mayor council government are as follows. So these are important because actually one of these changed recently. So, oh y'all, we have a public safety alert. So look, I see it. I had my own radio show for 4 years, so I believe in speaking up for these. There's a public safety alert. The number of accidents being reported is increasing. Y'all, stay off the road. Stay off the road. Stay home. Bake a cake. Make some gumbo. Like, stay off the road. People are doing too much. They want to sightsee. But y'all, we're excited. Though. I haven't seen snow like this like ever in my life. When I say ever, ever in my life. So if y'all think time to play with the Lord, it does snow in New Orleans. When does it snow in New Orleans? So let me go back to reading it. Okay, the strong mayor system. The mayor may appoint and remove department heads. The mayor drafts and proposes budgets to the city council. The mayor possesses veto or line item veto power. The mayor officially represents the city on the state, national, and international level. The mayor exercises, hello everybody, the mayor exercises oversight of the city's day-to-day operation. So y'all know what's going on in the city. I'm only giving you who is responsible for what. You can do with that information what you want, but I'm going to tell you the truth. The mayor exercises oversight of the city's day-to-day operations. The mayor enforces city laws and ordinances. So things aren't being enforced like buildings falling down. Who is supposed to enforce these city laws and ordinances? I'm just reading you who is required. Now, who are in these positions, that's up to you. But the mayor enforces city laws and ordinances, and the mayor is not a member of the city council. So that is how the strong mayor system is set up. So if you see where I'm going with this, if the mayor is not working with the city council, or if the mayor is not working, period, there is a void in leadership because the mayor leads every city department. Let's go through every, because I can't name them all, but parks and parkways, your safety and permit, your NOPD, your homeland security. They actually, if you read the city charter, which I recently read the city charter, so if you stay up to date, I'm going to go through some of the city charter requests. So that's what they signed up for the emails and text messages because I'm going to be going through parts of the city charter to let the residents know what our elected officials are supposed to be doing so we can make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, and then there's some accountability because we're like, hey, you're supposed to be doing this. That's what you signed up for. So we're just gonna like hold them accountable, and when we are educated, I just believe we have a stronger government, and I also believe that we'll see more community connection with regard to voting and things like that because you'll be more inspired. And then if you go tell one person, then look what we've done. We've just created a stronger community because y'all we. So with that being said, now um, a strong mayor system of government. You realize the importance of our mayor. So I'm going to give you an example of what's going down in the city of New Orleans because this is just what it is. And I've had this conversation for years. It makes some people uncomfortable. So clutch your pearls, but other people, you ready for this conversation. So the mayor has been void in her leadership capacity for years. Many people said, let her live, let her travel, these things A, B, and C. So we at least know in 22, 23, there were gaps where there were years where she was out of town at least 3 months of the year from travel, right? And so what if you were using some of that time to prepare the city for Super Bowl? Just what you know, so many people like let that lady live, but you don't realize how it affects your life. It affects your life. And we're seeing how it affects our lives because when you're not meeting with certain department heads for over a year, who's running the department? Because as we go back to a strong mayor system, I need you to understand that the mayor is over every department. So everybody's like, I'm going to the city council meeting. I'm calling that city council member. I'm gonna rah rah rah. We're gonna fight in the office. You can scream as much as you want in those city council chambers, but until you go sit on the second floor in her lobby, the mayor's office, nothing is going to change. Let me explain why. When we go and fight for something in the city council chambers, other than one of our utilities, because that's where our city council is over the utilities and they're over how much money goes where. But the functioning of the government and who is taking care of their daily operations, that is the mayor. So when you go to your city council member and you say, I need help with A, B, and C, you need help with NOR, right? And NORD isn't even a department, it's a commission. So, but I'm giving you that. We're going to NORD because, we have a lot of parks that aren't taken care of. We know how much we love our youth in New Orleans, but we don't have any parks ready for them. But anyway, so you go to NORD. Your council member goes to NORD and says, hey, I need A, B, and C. Okay, but who is over NORD? You're like, yes, NORD has a director, and that's all a lot of people see. But NORD is the person, the director is under the mayor. So the mayor is over them. So if the mayor in that or doesn't like that council person, you're not going to get a lot done in that district because they don't want to help them out. Now, they won't tell y'all this on the news, but I will because it happens too often and I'm just over it. Like look at all of our neighborhoods and look what's going on. And you see the fighting in the city council and the mayor, but this is why, and this is what's going on. So the city council can't do a lot of stuff because the mayor is over every department. Literally. And so if the mayor is not mayoring, there is a void in leadership. So the mayor is the executive branch, right? We have three branches of government. You have the executive branch, legislative branch, judicial branch. So the only person who can step up in the executive branch is the governor. And the only thing he can do in the city of New Orleans, because the governor is not over the city of New Orleans. I'm like confused as to how people think that. The mayor is over the city of New Orleans. The governor can step into anything that has like a federal or a state association. Like he can go in under the overpasses because that's federal property. He can step into Sewage and Water Board because it has something to do with the state is over it. He can do the Super Bowl, the Superdome because the state is over it. Like y'all have like there are state things in the city. He can do the bridge because that's a federal highway. So he's doing what he can and have authority over in the city of New Orleans to help change things. Is he perfect? But no, because none of us are perfect. But he's doing what he can to help us, whether you see it or not, because we don't have any executive leadership. So because there was a void in executive leadership, that's why you see the governor doing so much in the city of New Orleans. And people are like, oh, they're just doing this for the Super Bowl. They're just doing this for the Super Bowl. Let me bring y'all in on a secret. New Orleans was supposed to get the Super Bowl. Actually, not supposed to. New Orleans got the Super Bowl for 2024. What year are we in? 25. Right. New Orleans got the Super Bowl for 24. I got a hat in the back, like to prove it. Go look it up. New Orleans got the Super Bowl for 24, and it got moved back to 25 because there would have been too much crossover of the Super Bowl and Mardi Gras at the same time. So they're like, push it back another year. So technically, New Orleans should have had all of this done for January 24. So what you see going on is everybody cleaning up the mayor's stuff without anyone wanting to say, we're all cleaning up the mayor's stuff because she retaliates. I've said this, the recall has said this publicly since 22. The mayor retaliates. Like, we have been blackballed in the city, but I don't care. I'm going to keep talking. Oh, well, whom shall I fear? The Lord got me. Like, who's going to speak up for the people? And I'm not trying to be mean, but you have all these politicians who know. Like, they know. That's why you're seeing the state representatives get more involved in what's going on in city government because our elected officials or our council members are, using what they can behind the scenes to kind of cover themselves and make stuff happen without the retaliation of the mayor. Like, that's what's going on. And people are like, oh, it's this, that, and the other. It's like, what? I don't know if y'all are bewitched by this mayor or what, but like, it seems like that sometimes. I'm like, she can do us wrong, and she is doing us wrong, and no one's saying it. And I'm over it, and I'm gonna say it again because who's gonna say it? So going back to all of that, there's an article in because no one's speaking up. There's an article in NOLA.com. I told you I wasn't gonna be super long today, but I'm gonna hit some stuff. So there's an article in NOLA.com that I really feel got like hidden under stuff this weekend because of the snow in New Orleans and it being historic. And I think, that helped out a lot of people in the city of New Orleans. But I would think I'm actually gonna read it. So if you signed up, I don't it's for subscribers only, but it is what it is. Everybody needs this information. So the security measures that were in place to protect Bourbon Street on New Year's Eve strayed from the New Orleans Police Department's written plan for that large annual public celebration. Documents obtained by the Times-Picayune show that it was the second straight year that the written security preparations for New Year's Eve did not reflect ad hoc measures that were actually used. Yeah, y'all heard exactly what I said. The gap between the formal security plan on paper and the reality on the ground is raising questions about how fully engaged city officials were in formulating, vetting, and executing their agreed upon playbook for one of the busiest nights of the year in the French Quarter. Without sufficient barriers blocking Bourbon Street, the killer, that's what I'm calling him, the terrorist, plowed a truck through 3 blocks, killing 14 and injuring dozens more. When they have spoken publicly since the attack, NOPD Superintendent Ann Kirkpatrick and the city's Homeland Security Director Colin Arnold each have described security steps they thought were in place but were not. They have described steps that were not in the NOPD's formal security plan. Yes, y'all can go read this for yourself. The city has had the city has long had comprehensive, detail-oriented security plans for big events that are typically coordinated by the Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness. Those preparations in past years have included an in-depth review of the plans and meetings of required agreement from various department heads. And who's over all those department heads? We all know because it just explained what a strong mayor system was, as well as a tabletop exercise amid at looking for flaws and gaps that could be exploited, according to former NOPD Superintendent Michael Harrison. And I can make amen that because, as I said, I was in comms for 3 years in the city of New Orleans. I built the social media department. We did tabletop exercises, and so I know exactly what he's talking about. Like, so did they have what happened? Did nobody talk about the mallards at the tabletop? Like, why would you not say, "Hey, they're broken"? Because another agency should have stood up and said, "Hey, I can do A, B, and C," and then it would have been fixed, and everybody would be on the same page, and everybody would know what's up because you also have council members at the tabletop too, so everybody's on the same page. Nobody like it's just sharing information. So that level of preparation, going back to the that level of preparation happened before every major event, said Harrison. Whose 4 year tenure helming the department spanned from Mayor Mitch Landrieu's second term and the first 8 months of Mayor Latoya Cantrell's administration. The mayor was always ding, ding, ding again. The mayor was always at the head of the table, and we would go around the table to ensure every aspect of the plan was accounted for, that there weren't gaps. Harrison said, adding that everybody had to agree to support that before we left the room. The terrorist, easily swerved around a police department SUV stationed at the Bourbon Street entrance along Canal Street before speeding down 3 crowded blocks unimpeded. The NOPD written plan does not include using a police cruiser as a safety measure, which experts have panned as woefully inadequate. The formal plan instead calls for raising a hydraulic wedge barrier that is installed just past the Bourbon Street entrance and makes no mention of concerns that the wedge might malfunction during an emergency, which is the reason Kirkpatrick is given for keeping it down. So that means it wasn't spoken of at a tabletop? In the hours after the attack, Kirkpatrick said there were additional NOPD vehicles along Bourbon beyond the one at the entrance. The NOPD commander in the French Quarter later said Kirkpatrick misspoke, and he acknowledged there were no additional vehicles or any other barriers except metal barricades that the terrorists crashed through. It's not clear what level of planning was conducted before New Year's Eve. The mayor's office and NOPD have refused to answer questions about the planning, city lawsuits, and investigations that are underway over the lack of barriers in place. So we don't even know if a tabletop happened. Why don't we know that? Okay, almost done. Arnold said in an interview that planning had been pretty standard. Asked who decided to position the SUV at the Bourbon Street entrance, Arnold said he was surprised to learn about that after the fact. He is the head of Homeland Security. So how nobody told him that there was a police cruiser there is beyond me. Okay. He said that he thought the NOPD plan called for a truck based on what had been done for past events. Literally every other one we had done had a large truck there, and in their plan, I believe it said large truck, Arnold said, or in their plan, excuse me. In their plan, I believe it said large truck, Arnold said. It was my understanding there would be a larger vehicle there. Arnold did not respond to requests to discuss the planning effort in more detail. By contrast, Arnold offered extensive planning details in October for Swift's 3 concerts at the Caesar Superdome in a WWL radio interview with Noel Norman ahead of the Eras tour. Arnold discussed coordinated efforts to control traffic flow on local streets and Interstate 10, traffic light repairs, and designated rides for ride shares and merchandise vendors. We are looking at this kind of a dry run for February 9th, Arnold said then, referring to Super Bowl. So what was in the plans? So it says the NOPD New Year's Eve plans did not call for a truck this year or last year. Y'all, this is so interesting. It's y'all is all in the newspaper. Everybody missed this article because of the snow. I'm telling you, the NOPD New Year's plan did not call for a truck this year or last year. So what are any of them talking about? Instead, those plans called for more permanent barriers. The block barriers installed on Bourbon Street starting in 2017 or the flat wedges that stretch across the street and can be raised to block traffic. The Landrieu administration purchased and installed both those devices to guard Bourbon Street against a vehicle attack. The city had used a dump truck before the new equipment was installed. Officials in both the Landrieu and Cantrell administrations had difficulty maintaining the bollards, which were used off and on before being retired completely by 2022. So since 2022, we haven't had anything, y'all. So basically, we just got lucky for 3 years. 22, 23, 24. Like we just okay. NOPD plan for New Year's Eve in 2023 called for officers to operate the bollards as part of an enhanced French Quarter street closure plan, even though the bollards were out of commission for them. Wait, did y'all hear? Wait, I'm gonna read that again. The NOPD plan for New Year's Eve to end 2023. That wasn't last year's. Since 2023, called for officers to operate the bollards as part of an enhanced French Quarter street closure plan, even though the bollards were out of commission then. This year's plan called for using wedges, including at the Bourbon Street entrance, but it's not clear why they were included because they weren't included. NOB officials have said publicly the wedges have long been prone to malfunctions. So what were you doing about it? As a result, NOPD did not expect to use them on New Year's or in some prior events. Like, did anybody think we should have some of this stuff ready for like Bayou Classic? Just thought process. Just a question. But the plan doesn't mention those concerns nor identify an alternative. However, the plan doesn't mention those concerns nor identify an alternative. Really? Harrison said the tabletop exercises are intended to identify those exact types of vulnerabilities like malfunctioning equipment and to come up with alternatives. If there was a crest or billboards or barricades or any other physical equipment that it was retired, it didn't exist or was not operable, the answer to that should come out at the tabletop exercise, Harrison said. That's the whole purpose of it, to flush that type of thing out, he's added. PowerPoint slides from a December 17th tabletop exercise. Gee whiz. Y'all, they went back and got the old one. PowerPoint, PowerPoint slides from a December 27th tabletop exercise obtained by the Times Tribune planned for the potential of a New Year's Eve terrorist attack involving a truck ramming through Bourbon Street, bombs planted around the French Quarter, and a mass shooting. The exercise sought to review existing planned security measures to protect critical infrastructure and vulnerable sites. Did y'all, did y'all hear what I was? I'm gonna read that one more time because PowerPoint slides from a December 17th tabletop exercise obtained by the Times Picayune planned for the potential of a New Year's Eve terrorist attack involving a truck ramming through Bourbon Street, bombs planted around the French Quarter, and a mass shooting. The exercise sought to review existing and planned security measures to protect critical infrastructure and vulnerable sites. The Landry administration conducted 44 similar tabletop exercises from 2014 to 2017, a pace of more than one every month, according to a transition document prepared by the Landry administration for the incoming Cantrell administration. Okay, I'm gonna repeat that too. The Landry administration conducted 44 similar tabletop exercises from 2014 to 2017, a pace of more than one a month. So more than one a month, the Landry administration was putting on these tabletops to make sure that all of our public safety departments were on the same page. The NOPD's plan for each event was closely monitored and revised from year to year, Harrison said. When things happen, we learn valuable lessons, and those are supposed to be incorporated into the next year's plan to prevent that, Harrison said. So now they are pointing fingers. So it became clear within days of the attack that Bourbon Street was not properly protected. More than 2 weeks later, there appears to be confusion over who was responsible for ensuring that the street had more safeguards. Confusion? Suggestions to blame are also emerging between the NOPD and Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness. Um, let's go back to what we started in the beginning of this conversation. If you weren't here for the beginning of the conversation, I'm going to give you a rundown. We have a strong mayor system, and the mayor is over every department. So let me go back to the last sentence. Suggestions are emerging between the NOPD and Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness. Now, why are you pointing fingers? Who is over both of these departments? Same person. So, like, why aren't we pointing the finger at the person? Like, why aren't we pointing why are we unable to point our finger at the person who is over both of these departments? It's different if this was a first thing that happened, and you're like, okay, people have what. This is not the first thing that has happened, and like, I feel like certain people are in like an abusive relationship. Like, let it go. Like, come on, y'all. Along with Arnold, along with Mayor Latoya Cantrell and Council Member Oliver Thomas. Okay, OT, now you're in this. Have said NOPD is in charge of security assets. And guess what, Oliver? You should have been at that tabletop too. So why didn't y'all make sure all of this was done at the tabletop? Like, true story. The council members are at the tabletop too. So all the council members who don't know anything, were you asking? And if they were asking, if they were just getting stonewalled, then we should know that. Like, shouldn't we know that? Like, I think it's time for us to know that. Like, where is the holdup? Because there is a lack of communication, and the residents are suffering for it. It's like this game of retaliation. We are suffering for it. We have been suffering for years. And like we've just to a point where everybody's sick of it. We're sick of being resilient. Well, guess what? Me too. And when we start holding everyone accountable, because here's my thing, and as of the recall 2022, 2023, it was on the mayor in her decision making. I felt like a lot of people kind of sucked the life out of the recall and made it about certain other things that's not what it was about. It was about the mayor's decision making. It was about her not working. And now you see what she could have been working on, like putting together a Super Bowl plan that should have been done in 24. Like, and if y'all would know the real story, or I can't say the real story because people only know part. The the story I know about what has gone on in the situation with the homeless for years, and how there have been people in our city who have wanted to put up their own money to take care of things, and because of an altercation with the mayor, she was just like nasty to people. So our homeless problem did not need to ever get to the way it was because they had people in the city who wanted to do things for it. So the point that the governor is doing this now is because they haven't been doing anything. And I applaud Leslie Harris's efforts and stuff, but I'm like, how long were y'all in office? Like, it's in their last year of office. Everybody wants to do great things, and it's wonderful. We want you to do great things, but you've been here for 3 years before that. It was a problem then, it's a problem now. And now that you have someone who wants to move it faster, I'm like, sometimes you look for the silver lining in things, and of course, everything could have been done differently. But I'm like, it's snowing in New Orleans. I feel like it's a blessing. The Lord kind of blessed them to make sure they aren't out in this type of weather. Like, I don't know. I'm going to look for the silver lining, and I think that we should, come together on that. That I'm a Christian, and we need to take care of the people who are less fortunate. And so, any way that that takes place, and they're not in this type of weather, then I'm just going to focus on that. And whoever wants to support it, it is what it is. Purple or red or blue. I'm not either one. I'm independent. I've had that conversation with y'all. I don't care as long as the work gets done, and I think that's what a lot of people are. And I feel like when you're under these like teams, you have to be on a team. Well, I'm not on anybody's team. I'm on the people's team. And like we need to stop with all these teams because the teams are dividing us and you're missing the point. Because the point is it's classism. It's not even colorism. We get caught up in like colorism and all these other things. It's classism. Like we're fighting classism. So with all of that said, faith in politics is what I do. I'm going to bring y'all the things that I know, the things that may have slipped through the cracks, and, things to empower you to build a stronger New Orleans. And hopefully, we have more voter turnout, and we want to encourage our youth to get there to sign up, and just to let everybody know if you wanted to change your designation from Republican to Democrat, Democrat to Republican, or to none of them, you wanted to no party, or you wanted to change to independent or like that, you can do all of that online as long as you have an up-to-date ID. You can do that on the SOS.gov. You can change all of it, and you can sign up to vote on SOS.gov. I don't believe we should just always wait till there's an election. I think we should do it all the time and remind people that you can register to vote online in the state of Louisiana as long as you have your ID. So encourage people to really go out and do that. We really need to speak up because I'm telling you, all these elected officials who are pointing their fingers, saying this, that, and the other. I'm like, y'all knew, like you were just waiting for something to happen. Like you knew. So stop acting like high and mighty. They need to humble themselves, and we all need to be real about what is going on in New Orleans. Perfectly honest, let me tell you what New Orleans needs. I need a full audit. We need an audit of every department. Like Kirkpatrick did not know they had dollars. Well, when was the last time they had an audit of the resources? Like they want us to take care of our bills and be like, this, that, and the other. I'm a single mother. We be robbing, we need to pay Paul and make stuff. So you have to make stuff happen. I'm like, y'all have more money than we do. Like, what are you doing? Our children don't even have like free uniforms. You have enough money to be doing that, and why don't they? Like at one point, youth and families had $41 million. $41 million. Why did all of our children in the city of New Orleans have like uniforms that you didn't have to pay for? Like that's how I see it. Do something for the parents, the residents that they don't have to pay for something. So the money stops coming out of our pockets. Like I can talk about this all day. Like don't start me. And the thing is, making politics has started me. So hopefully you join me on this journey. I'm going to be live every Tuesday at 12, and we're just going to talk about whatever's like going on in New Orleans. And I'm going to give you like some information. Like today was a strong mayor system. If you're just getting on, please, go back and listen to this. You can also listen. I don't know if y'all know this. You can listen everywhere you podcast. If you podcast on Spotify, I'm on Spotify. If you podcast on YouTube, I'm on YouTube. If you podcast on Apple, I'm on Apple. All of those things like Amazon and all of them, which I'm kind of really excited about. So you can everywhere you podcast, and let's build it. Sign up for the newsletter. Like I said at the beginning, if you weren't on here, the Bachelorette was so big that they wouldn't let me put it one time. They thought I was like, what is it? And I'm like, okay, so they're putting it out in pieces. So after all of the emails go out, send out like everyone then sign up. So make sure you sign up and also sign up for the text messages because I'm really excited about this. You know, I just believe, and I've always said this since I worked with the city with technology and things like that. There are more people who have a phone than a toothbrush, and so look, I have three phones right now, and so text messaging. So many more people are using that as to keep in contact, and everybody's phone doesn't really have great email access, but every phone does have better text messaging services. So there's ways where you can text your solution of what you think the city should be doing. We're going to see how many characters it gives us, but we're going to, have solution Saturdays, around what's going on in your neighborhood, and we're going to like put requests to our public officials and see how we get things done. I have done communications in the city for 3 years. Some of the people I know, some people I don't know, but I do know a lot of departments that are there that how things connect, and I just really hope to help connect some dots to empower you. This isn't about me, this is about us, and I hope we all do it together. So just thank you for tuning in. Thank you for the support. I really appreciate it. This walk is not easy, but I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and I'm going to speak what I got to speak, and it just is what it is. I'm kind of over it. People want to be manipulative and keep it quiet. You can't even explain my journey because you glean it. One day I'll be right about have mercy. But you can't. I'm going to do what I'm going to speak the truth, and it is what it is. And they know, and they should have been speaking a long time ago. And I'm tired of being like people, and you should be too. So it is what it is. This is Faith in Politics with me, Eileen. Make sure you follow us everywhere you podcast. Make sure you follow us online at YouTube.